Bonjour, je m'appelle Operation Pour. Bienvenue à la maison. Je parle plus français, cependant c'est de mon mère. I always jack that one up. I don't even know what's going on. If you don't know a second language, I suggest you learn it. If you don't know Jesus Christ, He is your Lord and Savior as well as mine. It's your sign to go find Him if you don't know Him. So we're always seeing stuff out here about Glock clones or Glocks. Everything is Glock this, PSA dagger that, what's the other one? Canic, all this, all that. Glock. And Glocks are great. But even a dagger without a red dot, this came with iron sights, took the iron sights off, I just wanted a straight dot. This dagger, all in all, without all the little accessories and aftermarket springs and trigger kit I put in it, this thing was like $300, okay? And I mean, you know, $300 to a lot of people. Like, if you're making 20 an hour, that's probably like chump change, alright, whatever. But, you know, in my area, people really be making 13 an hour, and that's kind of like where it starts to get good money around here. And to be honest with you, like most factories is like 16 an hour, and that is like top out pay. My area is very poor. I live in a very poor area. I live in the Appalachian region. We don't have money like that. And that's kind of not fair, because especially online goods cost the same amount for everybody across the board. So if I wanted to order a PSA dagger, and let's say I made 12 an hour, that's a big deal. If you made 20 an hour, $8 more on the hour than me, even if we're working the same job, I mean, is that fair? That's just, look, all I'm saying is, if life was fair, the mule would own the farm. I'm just saying. So there's a lot of discrepancies there. I'm not getting political. I'm just saying this kind of ties into my whole name, you know, Operation Pour, and then kind of the highlight of today's video right here. This is a HiPoint C9. We're going to talk about HiPoint in general, what they stand for, what my opinions are of them. Also, if you watch this channel, you know I do budget stuff, but I mainly talk about warfare, guerrilla warfare in the sense of Red Dawn, or like foreign invasion, Soviet invasion. You know, France wants to invade. Whoever wants to smoke, Iran, come and get it. You know what I'm saying? But in that sense, in a warfare sense, you do want a Glock or a Glock clone, something that takes Glock mags and something that takes standard 5.56 AR-15 mags. And I guess if you're preparing for like Soviet invasion, then an AK-47 or something like that, maybe for your go-to. That's kind of the only options because of logistics. Now, I did a short over that. I'm not going to get too far, you know, too down that rabbit hole, but that is the answer. I'm not here to argue with anybody. That's the answer, though. But if you can't afford that, like this HiPoint right here, I think these are going for like $180 right now. So a little over what half of this one is without all the attachments and stuff. And in a sense, it does the same thing. So, like, you know, here's the thing. It's got an 8-round magazine. It looks like a gun from Halo. I painted mine green. Comes with a ghost string sight, or the typical, you know, bladed 3-dot right here, bladed front. 2 dots on the back. Hopefully you can see that. I'm not going to try to flag myself. And I mean, it's kind of heavy. It's kind of like a brick, but honestly, it does its job. I do want to hit off. Criminals use these a lot for how cheap they are. They're throwaway guns, but especially if you're over here making 12 an hour and you are drowning, kind of like I am. Yeah. This will work. This will defend you. This will defend your home. This will defend your house. You got 8 shots, a 9mm, and then obviously if you start stacking mags, I think magazines for these, the only thing I really don't like about the whole budget package is they sell the guns for like $180 and they come with, I think, 1 mag. I only got 1 mag with mine. I bought this 3 or 4 years ago though. Each magazine that I could find for this particular one, this is a Gen 1 I believe, or Gen 2, something like that. This is an earlier model. it's like 20 bucks, and that's kind of crazy. It is metal. It is all metal. Even the follower is metal. So I mean, that's definitely good. The bottom's polymer, looks like, but the actual magazine is metal. And that's my one gripe with this. Like, if they could somehow slide in there and make this a double stack and take Glock bags, I probably wouldn't even like buy another Glock or anything of the sort. Like, I wish pistols would just go ahead, because, you know, half the carbines, the AR9s, all that crap, even like some more proprietary mags, like they make conversions for MP5s, all kinds of stuff nowadays. It's like Glock is the standard magazine, and I know it's probably patenting issues. I just wish everybody would just start, you know, unless you're doing something very specific, if you could just make a HiPoint take Glock mags, bro, I probably wouldn't run anything else. I'm just saying. This is a fine shooting firearm. It's really accurate. I've never had it jam but once. And when it did jam, I'm about 90% sure it kind of hit my thumb right here when the slide came back, because they are, there is serrations on the edge right here, and I got a bad habit. I'll put it that way. It's not good. I do my 1911s the same way, or my 1911 the same way. When I'm shooting, pull the trigger, I like resting my thumb up on the slide, and that is not a good thing. It's just a bad habit that I've tried to get out of. It makes me more accurate, but it does induce malfunction sometimes into the firearm, which obviously, you know, is not good. So the only real gripe I have with it is the proprietary magazine, you know, and that wouldn't be a gripe if we weren't talking about war or anything like that. But we have to include, if you're going to battle, a single stack magazine in the modern era. Even if you're using this as a secondary, it's kind of trashy. You know, we gotta be honest with that. However, for self-defense, concealed carry, keeping this in your purse, my wife actually kept this in her purse for like years till we got something better. It does its job. It's a little bit heavy, but it does its job. It's got a manual safety right here that also works as a slide lock. And I do want to say, last round, hold open. However, you cannot, it does not have necessarily a slide release. Even though it has a lock right here, it doesn't really work as a release when the magazine is still in the weapon. You have to take the mag out and then ride it forward. But if you have the mag in, you can't bring it down at all. It won't go down. You take the mag out though, still locked back. There you go. So it's a little bit odd. It's a little bit different than your typical standard semi-auto pistol. It goes bang every time you pull the trigger. They get a lifetime warranty on them. Kind of their message is they want to arm people. You know, they want to arm people like us, people making 12 an hour or 13 an hour. You know what I'm saying? They want to arm people and make sure they can defend themselves from evil. And I stand behind that 100%. They're not paying me any money to say this. I stand behind HiPoint in that sense. And if you've seen their new like JXP series, like that 10mm that's got the new grip and then the optic mount and all that and the rail, I'm probably going to end up getting one of them because they're like 180. That's not bad for a 10mm. And even being single stack, I mean, it's a 10mm. You know what I'm saying? If you go up in bear country and hike a lot like I do, you really can't beat that. You know, your next step up is probably like a 10mm Glock, and that thing's like $500. No, heck no. If I'm just going up to shoot a bear using it for like home defense or something, there's no reason to pay $500. I mean, if it goes bang every time you pull the trigger. Like I said, that's kind of an off skew of the warfare stuff, but like real talk, if we're talking about just solely personal protection, like one-on-one or like one-on-two, an 8-round magazine, as long as you train with this and you actually get out on the range and train with it, this will do you good. Now, alright, I've hyped it up enough in that sense. Now I want to hit off on something, just a little mind game. Let's say you are a little bit better off. You are that dude making 20 an hour or more. but you have a lot of buddies, a lot of family, and you want to arm them for cheap, well, then you can actually buy a bunch of magazines. You can stockpile a bunch of ammo, and then you can buy a bunch of these. But here's something. If you're a little bit better off, might be a good idea. Get you a 9mm as a backup, HiPoint. Get you a 10mm. Get you a 40. Get you a 380. Get you 45 ACP. Get all the different calibers they have, whether you want a pistol or the carbine models. They make carbines too. That's probably going to be on my get list soon, honestly. Get the more odd calibers. So let's say you're stocking up on your NATO calibers, so like your 9mm, and then you decide you want to stock up on 45 ACP or whatever it is, 40 cal, but you don't want all your money to be on these different calibers. You kind of want the same platform. Like I said, the AR-15, 5.56, 308 is a NATO cartridge. It's more so known as 7.62 by 51mm. That's the NATO conversion, and 9mm. But let's say you want to do some battlefield pickups. Now, I'm not condoning any illegal activity or anything like that. No, nothing like that. But what I'm saying is, you might find some laying around if guerrilla war ever came or foreign invasion ever came from different, passed on civilians and stuff like that. Heck, they're not using it anymore, whatever. They might have been running a 40 cal. And let's say the only 40 cal you have is that $180 HiPoint you bought 5 years ago that stayed in the box this whole time. But you would have a gun, you would have a platform that runs that ammunition. I'm just saying, if you're a little bit better off, it might not be bad to get a 40 cal and, just odd and ends like 380. 380's basically been phased out for 9mm nowadays, even in the, self-defense, like concealed carry space. But it's still fairly plentiful, especially from people that used to hoard it. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. So you buy like a 380, like really compact HiPoint. They make those like itty bitty models now. I'm not 100% sure. I'll try to pop up a picture if I can find one. It's like the YC9 something. I don't know what it stands for. That's probably actually, if you're a little bit better off and you can afford to drop 180 here, 180 there every couple months, and just on a HiPoint, that's probably not a bad idea. Like I said, you definitely want to buy a bunch of magazines for it. I'd have at least 3 or 4 for each different caliber. But if you want to stockpile it and then arm a populace and get you, a good name out there, these pistols and the carbines in particular, they'll do the job. And I know I'm just like everybody else. I always say you need an AR and a Glock. But if you generally can't afford that, or you're really trying to arm a populace, like I said, with like old surplus gear and stuff, I'm not promoting any militia activity, by the way. This is all just spitballing here. But if something did, come to the United States or wherever you live, this still goes bang. This still fires a 9mm projectile. It will still shoot. It will still shoot. I'm just saying, it's better than nothing. Any HiPoint is better than a rock. And then once you run out of ammo, you can just chuck that hoe and use it as a club, even if you need to. Throw it. You can throw it. This ain't a rock. This is a boulder. All right, this is a boulder. You can just sit here and chuck it. Okay, that's a little bit satire, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. I really stand behind HiPoint. I have a little bit of experience with a carbine. When I was like 14, I nailed a rabbit right in the head, dude. I like its head. I think I was using a 40 caliber. It might have been a 9mm. This was years ago. Like I said, I was like 14. I blew a head off a rabbit at like 50 yards with it. Good running guns. Reliable. They might not be the prettiest things out there, but like I said, they'll go bang. And even like the carbines, handgun or carbine for home defense. Simple fact is, even if you live in a red state, when you shoot the bad guy or the intruder in your house, they're probably going to take your gun, and there's a good chance you'll either never see it again, or it's going to be in evidence for like a year. Just saying. So it's something to consider. If you shoot someone with your plate carrier on and all that crap, and then your go to war, like 10-5 AR, could you really afford to lose that if something did happen while it's in evidence or something of the sort? It's another thing to really keep in consideration. So for arming a populace on the cheap, HiPoint. For a company that cares about its customers, seems like, from what I've read, lifetime warranty, HiPoint. Thing is solid. Thing is absolutely solid. I said my piece. Let me know. And like I said, there ain't a lot of shooting in this video. You really have to just trust my word. We might come out this weekend and I'll get more footage of me actually shooting or running some drills with it. But like I said, I only have one mag, so I can't be like doing crazy reloads or anything, but alright guys, so now I'm going to run a drill. I'm not really going to have the camera focused on the targets. This is more about just how the weapon feels and just how fast we can go. I'm not really worried too much about accuracy. I have 3 steel targets over there. Those are going to be the last, let's see, last 3 or 4 shots. And then I have a clothed target. It's an old shirt of mine hung over a silhouette. That's going to be the first initial contact. With this drill, essentially what I'm trying to do is I'm going to bust, I got 7 shots on the Glock, 7 shots on the HiPoint to make it even. I'm going to bust the first 4 into the silhouette. Weapons are already going to be out because I do not have a holster that fits the HiPoint. So I'm just going to roll, weapon already out at the ready to go, rack, everything ready to go. I'm going to say beep or whatever, do a mental tick, and then I'm going to dump 4. 4 is a really weird number to be doing. It's going to challenge me in that sense. You know, most people shoot like 1 or they'll shoot 2, 3, but nobody ever just shoots 4 and then goes on and do single shots. It's kind of odd, and it's going to force my brain to really work and think. So we're going to dump 4, and then so this is 5, 6, 7. Yep, 1 per each of the steel. I have 2 8-inch plates out there, and then I also have a little like 3-inch in the middle. You'll definitely see me struggle with that. So we're going to do the Glock first. This is cold. This is just straight up cold, but we're going to go ahead and get into it. I'm going to do them back to back. So anyways, beep. Alright, so 4 hits on, 1 hit on the steel down there, hit at 1 8-incher, so that definitely was not good by any means, but that's alright. It's been a while. That was cold, no warm up, no nothing. So what is that? That's 5 out of 7. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's still passing. Now, full transparency, I am wiping my lenses off right now because they were kind of foggy right there, just with the neck gaiter and everything on my head. But it is burning up out here, and that's keeping me alive. So, HiPoint C9. We're gonna run the same drill. So, kind of just 4 right off the bat in rapid succession. I'm gonna make sure I hit the target. Hit center mass. However, once I get to the steel, I'm really going to try to just work in there and get hits on. So, like I said, this is cold open, back to back, 1 take. I'll probably add a transition in there, but this is all 1 take as of recording. So, beep. Oh my gosh. Holy cow. Malfunction. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh no. Oh no. That ain't good. I don't know if that was me or the weapon. I think I might have squeezed the mag release. Alright, we got the middle one. Oh hell. I'm pretty sure we just hit both. So for record, I did not miss a shot with the HiPoint. For record, I did not miss a shot. I actually think the group was tighter, and that is all shooter. That's definitely not the weapon, but dang. I mean, I got one dead center on the shirt. I mean, that was crazy. So we did have a malfunction, but I'm gonna be 100% honest. I'm not used to it. And take that, I'm not cutting this. Take it how you will. I know I said it was reliable. Everybody says these things are reliable. Check clear. The way I was gripping it, the mag fell out. And I think when I was shooting it, like I said, rapid succession. I mean, this could be a training error. This is the first time I shot this gun in 3 years. Or it's 2 or 3 years. I think I hit the mag release on accident. Be 100% with you, because the mag came out, and that's when it initiated the failure. It didn't feed all the way. So I really think, I don't think that was the gun. I think that was user error. But you know, you also got to think ergonomically. Do you like to grip the guns like that? I do weird things with my thumbs naturally. So I didn't miss a shot with it. Those 8-inch plates are probably about 17, 20 yards away, give or take. Maybe, yeah, about 17 to 20 yards, somewhere in there. And then this dude over here is probably about 7 yards away. So I'm not missing him at all. But right here, that's a pretty good shot, especially on that little 3-incher. I mean, you take that as you will. We definitely got one dude down. And if I would have trained and practiced more with this, I wouldn't have dropped that mag and induced that malfunction. So that's user. I'm not cutting it out. We got to be real here. But I'm like 99% sure that was me that did that. And all the excitement. I'm not used to it. I train with Glocks and 1911s. I haven't touched any of my other handguns or friends' handguns or anything, because I typically show no interest. But for the video, I wanted to get this out and just show you. I mean, it does work, and when you're not being an idiot and hitting the mag release, it worked pretty well. And I got 5 out of 7 with my everyday carry, and I got 7 out of 7 hits and a malfunction out of the HiPoint. And I'm like I said, I'm pretty sure that was user error. So let me know your thoughts down below. Let me know, have you ever had a HiPoint? You think about getting one? Did it fail on you? Do you like the mags? Do you think everybody should switch to Glock mags? Like I said, I think that would make the world go round. I think it'd make it a lot easier. Be 100% with you. But anyways, roll it back. We might be hitting these targets. I don't know. But anyways, if not, au revoir. A bientôt. See you guys next time on the mountain. God bless you.